Hello, my name is John Smith, and welcome to the Psalming Effect. Today is March the 6th, 2023, and I want to share some thoughts with you today from Psalms 31. And there's a word that the psalmist, in this case it's David who wrote many of the Psalms, there's an expression that he uses. He talks about a broken vessel in this psalm. And so to help at least illustrate for us what is meant by that, I brought along a broken vessel. Well, first I want to show you this vessel. This vessel's not really broken. I mean, it looks like it is because I've put this on it. That's just because it used to have a strap, and the strap mechanism broke. Well, I mean, it's a drinking vessel, so the strap isn't really an important part of it. The lid still works, and it works the way it's supposed to work, okay? So it's still a good vessel. You wouldn't call this a broken vessel. This is what you would call a broken vessel, okay? This is my old water bottle, and I don't know if you can see it very well in the picture, but it doesn't have the lid on it. You know, this has the lid that goes like that and opens and closes and snaps shut. This one doesn't have that lid on it. That lid broke and is gone, along with the strap that used to be a part of it. So it's a broken vessel. But I was able to, but I didn't want to part with this one. I did get this one, later, but I wanted to keep this one and make it useful again. It has sentimental value for me. I took this drinking vessel with me, water bottle, to Mexico on 6 mission trips that I've been a part of with True North Helping Hands. The first one was in 2007. And so, but what I had to do was I had to make it so that it would hold water. Because, a water bottle isn't much use if you are going to carry it around and the water's going to spill out of it. So I found a rubber stopper that just happened to fit the spout there. So I have to push it on. But of course I don't want to lose the rubber stopper. So I found this to attach to retain the rubber stopper for me. Really, it's a keychain that someone made for me. Used to say God's grace is for you in 2022, but I took the in 2022 part off of it and put an extra clip on it so it would work here, and so that it wasn't just referring to 2022. So it still says God's grace is for you, and so now I can drink from it. I can cap it and keep it from leaking, and it keeps my drinking water fresh. So this is no longer a broken vessel. Well, really it is, but it's been made useful again. It's made to work again and fulfill its purpose. And I added this little piece. This is one of those carabiner clips that is often used for camping. And since I was already, improvising something here to attach the stopper chain to, I thought, well, let's put this clip on there. And so in this way I can carry the water bottle just on my finger like this, which is handy. The other thing I can do is I can clip it to a belt loop if I want to keep my hands free, or I can clip it to the strap of a backpack and that I'm carrying, and when I go hiking. So in some ways this water bottle is even more useful than it was when it was new, before it was broken, because of the improvisations that I've made to it. At least for me it is. You'd probably say, John, just use your new water bottle, just go get another one. But no, I'm going to keep using this broken vessel because now I think it's even better than it was before. So the psalmist David uses this idea of a broken vessel. Now, in his time, he would have been talking about pottery, probably. If you have a lamp that holds oil to use, to burn as a lamp, but it's broken and the oil is all going to leak out, well, then it's not very useful. Or if you have a piece of pottery that's used as a drinking vessel to hold liquids, but it's broken and all the fluid leaks out, then it's not going to be very useful either. So that's probably what he has in mind when he talks about a broken vessel. But really, whether it's a thermos, water bottle, or it's a pottery vessel from ancient times, it illustrates the same principle about the brokenness that we sometimes feel, and that is very real in our own lives. And that's what the psalmist is really talking about when he mentions this broken vessel. Let me just read some of the verses for you. Psalm 31, and I'm starting at verse 9. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am in distress. My eye is wasted from grief, my soul and my body also. For my life is spent with sorrow, and my years with sighing. My strength fails because of my iniquity, and my bones waste away. Because of all my adversaries, I have become a reproach, especially to my neighbors, and an object of dread to my acquaintances. Those who see me in the street flee from me. I have been forgotten like one who is dead. I have become like a broken vessel. Now, as he talks about his brokenness there, when he says, I have become a broken vessel, we understand that he's talking about, and he talks about some specific things. His physical strength, his bones are wasting away, his body. And we understand that brokenness. You know, if we've been injured, or if we have failing health, or if, like me, you're just getting old and you have arthritis in this shoulder and in your lower back and in your hands, and you're feeling like a broken vessel. That's how I'm feeling some days. I get up in the morning and it's like, wow, what did I do yesterday? I'm a broken vessel. Then there's he talks about sorrow and grief. You know, his eye is wasting away from grief and the distress of sorrow. Well, we all understand that brokenness as well. This last year, I've lost some loved ones. I lost my mother back in the fall. And there's a brokenness that we feel in our hearts when someone that we dearly love passes from us. And of course, there's other sources of sorrow and grief as well. Sometimes it's the loss of a relationship, not by death, but maybe by divorce or by some other tragic turn of events. And but the sorrow is very real. The brokenness is very real that we feel. He also talks about that my strength is failing because of my iniquity. There's a brokenness that happens to us because of sin. Now we're fortunate that through Jesus Christ we have an opportunity to be protected from the eternal consequences of our sins. Jesus, provided by our God, is making it possible for us to have everlasting life despite our sinfulness. But we still suffer the consequences here from our sins. If I'm false and dishonest with people, then I'm going to suffer some consequences in my relationship with them. If it's at work or it's at home or it's in some other situation, there's going to be consequences. If I am harmful to people, if I steal stuff, I'm going to have to deal with consequences. If I break laws as a part of my iniquity, I should expect to pay the penalties for those consequences, for those iniquities. That's just the reality of it. And that's a part of my brokenness. You know, I'm not a perfect person. 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 I'm not a perf as much as I try to do what's right, there are times when it's not just a matter of I'm trying to do what's right and I make a mistake by accident. There are times when I just plain fail to do what I know I should do, and then sometimes I do things that I know very well aren't the right thing to do, but I end up doing them anyways, and it's not an accident. Uh, and so I'm very much still, even though I'm redeemed by by God through Jesus Christ, I'm still a broken vessel. And that's why I like this illustration that David uses of a broken vessel, and why this broken vessel is a good illustration of what God does for us. He makes me what I am. Out of His goodness, He makes me valuable. He gives me purpose. He gives me some value that I wouldn't have. I would just be a broken, useless vessel without the goodness of God. Listen to David as he talks about this in later verses in this psalm. I'm not going to read the whole psalm, but I would encourage you to spend time. There's 24 verses. Read this psalm several times, maybe every day this week, and reflect on these things. But here's what he says. Even though he feels like a broken vessel, listen to this. Make your face, verse 16. Make your face shine on your servant. Save me in your steadfast love. And then come to verse 19. Oh, how abundant is your goodness, which you have stored up for those who fear you, and worked for those who take refuge in you, in the sight of the children of mankind. And then come down to verse 21. Blessed be the Lord, for He has wondrously shown His steadfast love to me when I was in a besieged city. So the experience of David can be our experience as well. You know, David suffered all of these things. He had enemies. He struggled with sin. He grew old and experienced failing health, etc. There were just a lot of things he went through. He was a broken vessel, but he was blessed abundantly because God, in His steadfast love and mercy, redeemed David and made him the valuable person that he was. God will do that for you and I as well. And so there's no shame in being a broken vessel unless we just wallow in our brokenness and we withhold our faith and our trust from God. But if we will place our brokenness in God's hands and say, heal me and redeem me, make me whole again, give me purpose again, show me my value again, God will do that. In His abundant mercy and goodness, He will make us into something glorious, into something eternally valuable. Broken vessels. Yes. And because of that, Jesus is for me in 2023.